Yeah, if I don't show up. And that's the only way I can lose. And believe me, I will be there.
This is Daryl, Too Sweet Coley, 38-2, 28 knockouts, former #1 welterweight in the world, on the neutral corner with Jerry Sosa.
I'm gonna show you how great I am.
I'm the best ever. I'm the most brutal and vicious and most ruthless champion there's ever been. There's no one can stop me.
I wish I was 50 years younger and I'd kick your ass.
You won't do shit.
Hello, and welcome to the Neutral Corner. Myself, Jerry, and Daryl, Too Sweet Coley. Daryl, how are you, sir?
I'm fine. How you doing, Jerry? How you doing?
Good, good. So look, tonight's guest is a great guest, Bronco McCott, WBO light middleweight champion of the world. We're going to talk a little bit about his boxing career, a little bit about some other things he's got going on, and it's exciting. How you doing, champ? How you doing?
I'm doing great, man. What champ you talking about? You talking about me or about?
I'm talking about the one and only Bronco McCott. Bronco, how are you, champ?
Hey, I'm
welcome.
Fantastic. Great.
Welcome
great
to the Neutral Corner.
Hey,
Great
Bronco, man, it's a pleasure to meet you, man. It's a pleasure to meet you, man.
Hey, you know what? You too. Listen, I used to watch you a lot. I remember you. I remember you. I loved watching. I remember you, man. I remember you.
Hey, Bronco, this is no lie, Bronco. I'm talking about, I would have bet my life that me and you was going to fight. I thought we was going to fight because I'm like, this guy's good. I know I'm going to run into him.
I thought so.
Most of your fights, man.
I thought so too. That's funny you say that because I don't ever recall any time like your name ever coming across, you know, like, because I used to watch you. I used to think, oh man, me and that slick dude are probably going to meet up one day.
Yeah, because I'm like this every time. They said I got a fight coming up. I'm knowing they're gonna bring your name up. They never did though. I'm like, wow,
Nope.
They never did.
Nope.
They never put your name up, man.
You meet today. You meet today, gentlemen.
That's my man. Hey, Bronco, one more thing, bro. I was a big fan of yours, man. I was a big fan of yours. Man.
Ditto. And I mean that. Honestly, I mean that.
Thank you, man. Thanks.
I mean that.
So listen, Bronco, I want to thank you for coming on the Neutral Corner with Daryl Coley and I, and it's an honor to have you on twice. So let's get right into this because I know we're running a little late and we don't want the bat phone to go off. What's been going on since we talked in April of 2021? We had you on the Neutral Corner. It was just you and I and the wife, and we had a great interview. It was great, man. How's everything been?
Things are well. I business. So I'm a real estate agent. That keeps me very busy. I got into it at the right time when they're hot. And of course, I'm on the boxing commission. I'm on the boxing commission for the state of Michigan. I'm 14, and I just received my reappointment from the governor. So I have another 4 to sit on the boxing commission. And it's called the unarmed combat. We oversee boxing, MMA. So it's great to be a part of that. You know, still keeps me in the game, still keeps me around the action. Well, man, life is good, and I have no complaints.
Awesome to hear, man. So, listen, I want to start off first, and I want to get a little bit into your boxing career, a little bit with the Bronx Gym. I see you got the sweater on there. Always representing the Bronx Gym, man. Let me ask you this. And I know we spoke about this in our last interview, but I want the viewers now are on a new format. We got some new listeners. We're live on Facebook, Twitter, Twitch, Instagram. We're live on FFN Radio International. What got Bronco into boxing? What was it that gravitated you towards boxing and maybe not baseball or basketball?
Well, actually, you know, baseball was my first love. That was the got into that I really thought that was going to be something I was going to do. But boxing was, you know, I was just that kid that was getting ready to head down the wrong path in life. And my dad and all my uncles are former Golden Glove boxers, but they were all former Golden Glove champions, Golden Glove boxers in Toledo. And so one day he knew he could see which way my life was possibly heading. And he sat me down and respected my dad, and I feared him at the same time, you know, because my dad was that guy that would, you know, he would love you, but he snap. He wasn't like, he was no nonsense. But he sat me down and he just talked to me and said, I'm going to step change your life, son, because I can see where it's headed. And he told me every day when you get home from school, it's going to be with me. I don't care if you want to go to the park and shoot basketball. We can go play catch. We can go fishing. I don't care what you want to do, but it's going to be with me. So he was going to the boxing gym. My uncle was actually one of my first trainers. He actually spent 3 months and else just balance, 3 months of that. But boxing, it changed the direction of my life before I went down that wrong path. And ironically, my best friend, Aaron Lavender, me and him, out of the circle of guys that all ran around together that never ended up in jail or prison or any of that. We saved my life before I had a chance to mess it up.
Wow, that's awesome. So you had a great amateur career. Would you have 35 amateur fights?
I only had 35 amateur fights, but in those 35 amateur fights, I won the Toledo Golden Gloves four times, the Detroit Golden Gloves, the Michigan State Junior Olympics. So I was more of a quality instead of a quantity fighter. I didn't just fight every weekend. I almost as an amateur picked my tournaments, trained, got ready, fought amateur. I didn't take like the summers off like everybody else was when school was out and things like that. I was meant to get better than those guys that were whipping my tails earlier in the gym.
Yeah, so you must have missed out on proms, birthday parties, and all that stuff because you were training for the amateurs. I think you went. Was it 31-4 in the amateurs?
Yeah, best
right?
I recall. Yeah, best I recall. It was 31-4. I always like to give a shout out. I don't know if you can.
Yeah, read it. I can't.
Me to fight.
my sister taught me how to fight. I love that.
Hey, excuse me, hey Jerry, excuse me for 1 second, Margo. Can I please wish Danielle a happy birthday? Happy birthday to Danielle.
That's right. Today is my daughter's birthday, Danielle.
Yes.
We want to wish you a happy birthday. For the two champs, happy birthday, Danielle. We hope you enjoyed your day.
Yeah, happy birthday.
Hey, Bronco, let me ask you this: who was your toughest fight in the amateurs?
I mean, I remember a fight that kind of a guy named Kevin Hicks was around at that time, but this was the Kevin Hicks out of Indiana, and had a real knockdown, drag out, back and forth fight. And I won. I think a split decision, Toledo Golden Gloves championship, and I won like outstanding fighter that tournament that year and all that. And that was fight there that boosted me right here, because I knew, man, I took everything that guy had, and he was a real tough guy. He had way more fights than I did. Been around. I think he was fighting before I was, and so we had a real knockdown, drag out fight. I didn't really have like a lot of tough fights in the amateurs. It definitely wasn't like the pros. 3 rounds is hard to have an all-out war.
So is there a number of fights you should have in the amateurs before you come pro? How do you know when it's time to turn pro? You gotta have a good, obviously good trainers and stuff like that around you. Yeah, you gotta have the right people around you. And for me personally, I was 21 years old and I fought in the Nationals '92, which was awesome. Got beat in the Nationals. Fought a few more amateur fights after that. Beat a couple, proved that I could. And then it was like, hey, I'm 21. At this point, for me, what am I going to do? Am I gonna just go to work? And I felt like I could be a professional fighter. I felt like I fought more like one at place. But I don't think it's number of fights. Obviously, you gotta have. But for me, it was here because there were a lot of people that saw me before I saw it in me. I mean, they were believing in me before I believed in me. And then, but once, here for me, when it matched up with what I had here and it was here, then I was good to go. When I could fight, it was I was a whole different person. That's maturity. That's maturing. That's that
Let me add this. When you're talking about pro and amateur, I think they are completely two different sports, man. They're not nowhere near the same. Hey, Jerry, they not nowhere near the same.
No, absolutely.
You can be a great amateur and a terrible pro, and vice versa. Yeah, vice versa. They two different sports.
That's a good point. That's a good one. So Darryl, when you started was in Monroe, Michigan, correct?
Darryl?
No, Bronco. I'm sorry. I said Darryl.
We do favor. We look alike. I can understand.
Started in my city, and I didn't even know.
No.
Yeah.
I was like, well, hang on, Darryl. So you started in Monroe, Michigan, right? That's where. What was the? I know you started at a local gym in Monroe, Michigan, right?
Yep.
What was that like?
It was called the Arthur Luslow Community Center. Now called the Opportunity Center with plus and ALCC. But for me, it's all Luslow Community Center. And see, we never really had like a home part. We had one gym that was for a little while, but then it was gone in the school on the gym floor, no boxing ring. We hung the heavy bags up on the pull-up bars, garages. Then we did finally get a boxing ring down in a community-owned gym ever. And that's starting to come to fruition here in the next, they're getting ready to have their own space in the next couple of years in Monroe. And I'm excited for these young kids coming up there.
Because and I've heard you spoke about it. We spoke about it in our last interview. How important boxing is to young people in their lives. It's more important than boxing sometimes. It's about life skills.
It is about life skills because, not to be cliche, but I swear boxing life is boxing because right, you're gonna hit a point in your life somewhere where you get hit really hard. You're gonna get knocked down, and you really don't have the choice. I guess you do, but in reality, when you get knocked down in life, you have to get up, right? You have to get up and you have to move forward and keep winning at life. Well, that's how you win at boxing too, right? You get knocked down, you get up and you keep pressing forward, you keep fighting. Boxing has saved, I think, saved a lot of kids, not just from the streets, because boxing, it saved them from the streets. That was kind of like their way out. But it also helps you adapt and be able to get through life with life skills that it's great. It's great for just everyday life, man. I believe that ring fought, tasted their own blood, been beat up, been bruised, been ached. They know how to get through. They know how to survive, and they know how to get to the next day. Same thing with life.
And that's the thing. So let's move on before we get to your WBO title, light middleweight title. So you started out in Monroe, Michigan, and then you're making that transition. You're starting to go to the Kronk's gym. How do you pronounce it? Am I pronouncing it correctly? Kronk,
but Kronk wasn't my first stop.
Right.
Kronk was not my stop. Was under James Toney and Jackie Callan. James Lights Out Toney was a guy in the world. Beat Michael Nunn. I mean, he was the man. So they bring Livonia, Michigan. They say, we got somebody for you to spar. Jackie Callan's interested in signing you. A guy named Kelly Duffy who made the introduction. So go to the gym. Me and my dad and the whole crew pull up, and we go down in the gym. Everybody's getting wrapped, and I'm getting ready, and I'm thinking, who but me and James Toney, right? And so I get gloved up, and his trainer, being my trainer, but came over and says, you about ready? You want to get warmed up? I said, well, who am I boxing? He points over, and I'm like, James Toney? Man, that guy's a killer. And and James Toney was mean, right? Everybody, James Toney was a no-nonsense, no joke. Going to kill me, So I told my dad, I said, Dad, you know who that is, right? My dad's like, I said, that's the champ of the world. I said, so I'm going to go out here and shoot my wad because I'm never going to come to a gunfight and not shoot my guns, right? So I went out there and I was really trying my best. Credit. He did not take advantage of me and do what he could have done. I mean, he bloodied my nose really big. Good boxing lesson. But when it was over with, he looked at Jackie said, sign this guy right now. Buddy, you brought in this gym. It wasn't ball. It was fear, right? It was fear. But work and then me and James developed just a great friendship relationship. Like he's my brother, man. I call him every once in a while. I'm talking, but he brought me under his, put me on a lot of his big undercards, showcased me, got me out there, and if Jackie Callan and my dad just sticking by me, all through everything, I would have never.
That's wild. So let me ask you this. So what was it like? You're in there with James Toney, and what was it like being? So let me ask you this. I'm going to do this. I'm going to give you a quote. I want you to tell me who said this. All right?
Mm-hmm.
I don't give sign-on bonuses. I give opportunities.
It was Jackie Callan.
All right?
Yeah.
And that's what she said that to you.
Yeah. She said, I don't give sign-on bonuses, but I give opportunities. And I said, that's all I want. Jackie Callan, like she's a second mom. I love Jackie. We talk probably.
She's the first lady of boxing. What was it like being managed or by Jackie and the first lady of boxing? It's like a dominating male sport. She must have had enough tough time navigating through some of these guys. Here's a female and in the boxing world. Tell me a little bit about that. I mean, she must be a strong woman.
Jackie is an amazingly strong woman, super intelligent, very not only smart in just everyday life, but just very street smart. I mean, she knows how to navigate. It was not a pushover, but it was funny because she was like all of her whole gym full of just sons that was ready to go to war for her if anybody tried to cross over her, because we had that, all of us had that chip on our shoulder to protect Jackie, because she looked out for us. Like she really treated us well. I mean, think about it. How many times in boxing split do you hear one side or the other really talk well about each other? Usually it's ever, because there's always usually a bad split. It wasn't a bad split. It was just things came up, timing it did. Jackie went her way, I went my way, but we never ever stayed out of touch. We're still in touch. And but Jackie did a great job as a man. She was Tommy Hearns' publicist. She was one of the first people to be around Tommy Hearns, and that's where she got her start with Tommy Hearns. So she came up around the roughest and toughest gym in the world, probably at one. Seeing the list of guys in there that were sparring each other, you would think, oh my God, if I can make it through here, I'm going to make it out there.
Hey, excuse me, Bronco. Let me ask you this. No, the gym, I was down Crunk Gym for like 11 weeks. It was the hottest gym I've ever in my life. Jerry, you can lose 25 to 30 pounds in one day down there. I'm sure. I'm talking about, was the gym hot like that? That was just me.
No, they kept the heat on 85 year round. No windows. It was in a basement.
Yeah, no windows or nothing. No windows.
Yeah, no windows. The walls. Gym. The walls lost 3 pounds a day.
people that come watch us box change their clothes.
Yeah,
because they're gonna get soaked. They change their clothes.
Yeah,
and watch us work out, man.
Yeah. You're right. 100%.
That's insane. That's great. So let's talk about the Gronk experience. First time being there, first time walking in the gym. Tell me a little bit about what that felt like being around all these great fighters.
Well, my first experience, I walk in the gym, and Horn, who was a light heavyweight contender back in the day, he starts screaming, I didn't know fresh meat, who's gonna kill the F white boy today? Fresh meat, I'm kind of intimidated because it's my first time in the gym. They're crying and they're screaming all this, and we get into a fight. He headbutts me once intentionally. Again, I step back and said, don't do that again. We boxed around. He headbutted me. I grabbed the back of his head, just went my head into his face. Then we hit the floor and we're fighting and elbowing and hitting, and they're breaking. I'll take you outside. I said, we can go outside. We can go right here. Don't matter. Get my gloves on. So with the next day, And so once I showed up the next day, they were like, okay, this I was still an amateur at that time. But then when I turned pro, I was under, like I said, Jackie 4 or 5 years. And then after I left them, I started training in 97 under Walter Smith. And when I walked, I'd already been world champion and everything. I walked in and bam, still standing in the same corner. I walk in, better than that now. And he started laughing, and then, I just became, Kronk was like the second family to me.
Absolutely, man. That's Emmanuel Stewart was one of the greatest. I mean, he was the greatest. He brought so many champions into the sport of boxing.
The difference, I think, between Emmanuel Stewart trainers, especially now, like when we were fighting, all those trainers, they were teachers. They actually taught you. They didn't do all the fancy. They taught you things. They taught you when you got inside how to maybe pop a shoulder, lift the guy's head, dirty things, little tricks. But they were teachers. And Emmanuel Stewart was a great teacher. What's missing? I mean, you've got guys like, come to mind, Emmanuel Stewart, Freddie Roach, the Walter Smith who was under Emmanuel Stewart, the Bill Miller who all those little guys that were under Emmanuel Stewart were all the same way. They were just all really good.
I think Daryl, Danielle said, thank you very much for the birthday shout out. So happy birthday, Danielle. So glad you could hear that from the two champs. I think that's what's missing when I see gyms today, or I watch videos of gyms training. It seems to be more flashiness than teaching the art, the sport of boxing. Footwork, head movement, things that mean something when you get in that ring. And Daryl, you can agree with me because you fought at the higher level too. I think that's what's missing in today's boxing. No, Bronco?
I don't know, bro. You know where it come from? Come from Floyd Mayweather. When Floyd Mayweather.
Yep.
And I'm watching Floyd hit the miss one day in person, and I said, Floyd, close your eyes, Floyd. You can't do it with your eyes closed. Floyd closed his eyes and went 15 minutes without missing a beat. You know why? Because it's rehearsed. It's a habit. Right. Everything that he does it every day. You don't see right. If you notice Floyd hit the miss, he never stopped punching. When he fight, he never punch. He throw one punch at a time. Right. So when he whatever he's doing is rehearsed so much, he can do it with his eyes closed. I've seen him do it with his eyes closed. Yeah. And mitts, people wants to be sharp on the mitts, and that right there make them think they can fight, but that ain't fighting. The mitts don't put you back.
Oh, yeah, Bronco. I just think that's what's missing from the sport. Is the teaching, like you said. And you said that so perfect. I see a lot of young people today with the videos up on Facebook, and they want to be fancy on the mitts, but they're not throwing a jab. They're not turning it over. They're dropping their right hand. They're not doing head movement. They're not cutting the ring off. They have no footwork. They're not using their lower halves and their punches. And I think that's what you guys were taught. And I think that's what makes a difference in today's boxing than in the 90s when you guys were boxing.
Yeah. And we didn't have, and plus two, we didn't have Facebook and all the Twitter, so we could get on there and show our moves up and look at me. I don't know. Some of these fighters, they're good fighters, but fighting, man, I took it serious. And I didn't. I remember one time a guy was a young pro, asked me to come down to the gym to watch him train. I'd come down and show you some pointers or whatever. The gym opened at 4. I got there at 4:15. I'm in the gym at 4:30. I'm waiting. He shows up, comes in, going around, laughing, playing around. 5:15. Finally, I walk over to him. shake his hand and say, "Yeah, good workout, my man." Even wrapped yet? I said, "Exactly. I said, "It's 5:15. This gym opened at fighter. You actually should be here at 4 and wrap before 4:30 and ready to." I said, I never was like that, and I said, and I can't even sit here and watch you walk around, play around, because I came in the gym, in the Kronk boxing gym. They would applications for Ford, Chrysler, GM. They would walk up to get school trainers. "Hey, son, this ain't for you." Ford is hiring. Hand him an application. Sounds cruel, ruthless, funny. It is funny kind of when you think about it. Sounds
But
cool.
reality.
It's reality. Yes, boxing is not a sport that you play. It plays you if you're not.
And you see, that's the difference with boxing and football, basketball, and baseball. Your teammates can cover for you. You can hide out in the back. Where in boxing, it's you in that ring, and if you don't put the work in, it's gonna show.
Yep. One of my favorite sayings from one of my old trainers was, "Whatever you put in it, when you press play, that's what's coming out."
Absolutely. So
I used to live by that, right?
Yeah, no, that's my life. That's good. So Bronco, let me ask you this: who was your boxing idol growing up?
I think anybody that had any kind of love for boxing, Muhammad Ali would be right. He's the 1A. Then one would be Tommy Hearns, just Motor City Hitman. I know 30 minutes from Detroit. I love Tommy Hearns growing up. I love Tommy. For me and Tommy's been friends for 20 some odd years now, and it's still sometimes I realize just how great of a fighter he was. And I told him one day, I said, "Tommy, I was like a library, and I got caught stealing posters of you out of a magazine, and they caught me." I said, "They kicked me out, but they let me keep the posters. Posters in my locker in high school. One of those posters in my workout room. One of those posters in my bedroom. You growing up, And I said, I wanted to have that Tommy Hearns, big, all that stuff. And so him, of course, that great era. Him, Sugar Ray Leonard, Hagler. Those guys. Those were the guys that I was like, oh, those are. I always wanted to just be somewhat on the same kind of level as them. But Tommy, one night I said, I'm glad I missed the 90s, 80s. I said, I'm glad I missed the 80s with Duran and Leonard and Benita. I said, damn, I'd be lucky to break the top 10 with all you monsters up there.
Absolutely. It's easy to break the top 10 now, but not back in the day. Go ahead, Darryl.
Hey, Bronk, let me ask you this, man. How because Winky Wright is from DC, from here. That's a close friend of mine, and I know that you fought him. How was Winky Wright? How was the fight Winky Wright? How was Winky Wright? How was it?
So Winky his jab is looking at it from the outside. His jab is it's just so crisp, sneaky. Just so quick. I think that's what makes it difficult to fight Winky. He's not a big puncher, but his jab jolting, and it just stings, and you think you got it timed and you don't. To tell people you could never appreciate Winky Wright's jab until you're on the end of it.
I think his style. I think his style gives anybody problems. I think his style. It's not the most exciting thing to watch, but his style gives anybody problems, man.
And he's strong. He's stronger. He's not a big puncher. He's a good
strong.
boxer.
I know what you mean.
He's strong. He's very, very strong. I mean, moving around with him, and I hit him throughout in our fights. I hit him with some solid shots throughout the fight. He can take a good shot. He's strong. Yeah. Good defense. He's tight. But you know what? Out of respect for him. Matter of fact, I called him the other day when that tornado was hitting Florida to make sure that he wasn't in the mix. Talked for a few minutes and stuff. And man, when you fight a guy like that and you share three, you have a good camaraderie. Right. And I got nothing but love and respect and well wishes for Winky.
That's
Was
good.
he didn't seem quick when you watched him, but that jab was snappy.
That jab was just like, I mean, it was lightning. It really was. You can't appreciate it on film, but man, when you're in there, it's like, how are you hitting me with that? Because I feel like I can see my forehead. I remember after one of our fights, my forehead was so sore. I was like, dang, man.
So you had the nickname Superman. Where did that nickname come from, and who gave it to you?
Well, so when I fought Aaron Davis, you know, he was, and
he was
when we were at the weigh, yeah, he was, and then we were at the weigh-in, said Bronco McCartney and Aaron Davis to the scale, and I jumped up really fast, and I said, "Will the real Superman please get to him?" Because he was just trying to. He seemed like he got aggravated with me pretty easy. I said, "Will the real Superman please stand up?" Well, we had a war, you know, we had a real tough fight and all that. And time later, I was looking on BoxRec at where I was rated or whatever at the time, and then Superman. I'm like, oh man, I didn't even give myself. That's even better because I didn't. So then after that, apes and the Superman jerseys and Superman patches on my trunk, and I just wrote it out from there.
Wow, that's awesome. So, but yeah, Aaron Davis fight that wasn't one of your toughest fights. I want to get to the was now you got your title shot against Santos Cardona. Am I right?
Yeah, that Aaron Davis fight was a tough man. That was a action 1 through 12. He gave me 11 stitches over my eye, broke my eardrum, and at it for 12 rounds. My thought was after I get him through 6, I'm gonna pick this fight up. He'll never be able to hang with my pace. As soon as I hit the 6th round, he had the same thing, and it was just nonstop. We were just battling back and forth. It was a great. That was one of my that was definitely one of my toughest.
Hey Jerry, I boxed him with him. He was tough. He's strong. He's strong. He's not that skillful, but he's strong. He's left-handed too. He's left-handed too, and he fight right-handed. He's left-handed. Yeah.
Okay. I didn't know. But there was a guy named
he's strong. He got a lot of
strength. Santos Cardona?
What's that?
Darryl, you talking about Santos Cardona?
No, I'm talking about Aaron. I'm talking about Aaron Davis.
Aaron Davis. Yeah.
Aaron Davis.
Was that what? So tell me about the getting ready for the title shot. What was it like training for the Santos Cardona fight? What was that?
There was just no way I was going to, because as I shared before, about a year before that, right after the Aaron, my grandfather had passed away before I got to fight for the world title. So I made him a promise on his hospital bed that you know, Grandpa, I'm going to win that world championship, and I'm going to bring that, let you see it. And so he had passed away before the Cardona fight, like a year before. I had 7 shirts made up, 7 T-shirts made up, and my grandpa was a big guy, and so he's a big jovial guy. And it was just a picture with me with my arm around his neck. He's laughing, and I had the shirts made, and they just had the number 4, a dash, and a U, 4U made, so I could train every day in that shirt, so I could remind myself my promise and what I was going to win this. I get to the fight, and my luggage doesn't. Right, so I have 4 days. I don't have any luggage. All I have is the clothes that I pack. Washing them in the tub in my room, hanging them out, drying them, and putting them back on. I mean, my boxing trunks, nothing made it there. But my mind was so focused, I didn't care. It doesn't matter. And Jackie said, if we have to, we'll just drive over to California, pick up some new trunk, whatever. So then, you know, I went on. I won the fight, and ring with me, my grandpa, and the 4U on it, and had his picture. We had bought it in it, and a picture of him in it. And then when I got back, me and my uncles, when I got back, we went to the graveyard, brought the belt out there. Just told stories. Just told stories about Grandpa. Laughed, had a good time. And for me, prior to or after that in my career, that was the biggest moment because I kept the promise to my grandpa. And I knew, like I said, I knew going in that fight, there was no way whatsoever that they would have to carry me out, because I just knew it.
You had a why, man. You were fighting. You had a why, and I think that's once you got a why and you know why you're doing something, you have a reason why you're doing it. That's an amazing story, man. Thank you so much for sharing that. Wow. And to win and to fight underneath those circumstances, that must have been really, something special for you.
I let it out. I felt, man, I bawled like a baby because I was so driven by that moment that I had to win that, and to keep that promise. I held it in all that time going into that fight. And then when I got, I won. I cried. I couldn't wait for them to announce it. And I was screaming with them. And then, it was a great feeling.
Yeah.
A feeling I'll never forget.
That's wow. That's amazing. So that's just an amazing story. Like that's great for you to share that with us. So I know you fought on. Well, I watched you on Tuesday Night Fights with Sean O'Grady. Obviously, Daryl Too Sweet Coley fought on Tuesday Night Fights. So I know you had a few places: Madison Square Garden, Caesar Palace, MGM, the Blue Horizon. I've heard you in an interview where you spoke about the Blue Horizon. You you fought at all these other places: Madison Square Garden, Caesar Palace, MGM. But when you fought at the Blue Horizon, you just felt tough. What was so electrifying about the Blue Horizon that you really felt the way you felt fighting there?
First of all, all them Philly fighters are. Every one of them guys can fight, and they're tough. I've never met an out for anybody. And the way that Blue Horizon was set up with seating and that ring right down in the middle, it was you felt like the gladiator, and that crowd was just so electrifying. And I fought both my fights there. I was the out guy coming in to fight the Philly fighters in Philly. So I had that, but the crowd loves you as long as you can fight. They don't care where you're coming from and who you're fighting. They love you, and they treated me really well out there. The Russell Pells, the whole deal, man. It was great for me. I really enjoyed myself, and so that's a bonus too.
Absolutely. So in the Blue Horizon, right? You said the fans were really like they didn't care where you're from as long as you could fight. So let's take those same fans watching boxing today and the way boxing is today. They're not going to be happy with some of these fighters.
There's definitely some fights that if they posted in Philly in the Blue Horizon, well, I don't even think they're there anymore, but there's some, if it was, there's some fights in the Blue Horizon or that are big shows, big money fights that they would boo out of that arena. Yeah. They want to see you fight when you come to the Blue.
Hey, bro, how tall are you, bro?
6 foot.
Oh, you 6 foot? You okay? You look. I'm watching. I'm dead looking at this. Which guy, man? You're a great fighter. You look taller than I thought. I'm like, wow. You may be a little taller than I thought he was. You look a little tall.
I realized that. Yeah, I thought you were looking. I thought he was sizing me up already, JJ. I'm like, man,
no. We already got a fan. You guys brought this up.
That's how good you are, bro. I have to size you. Every time I see you fight, I'm like this. I'm going to fight this guy, man. I got to size you up, man. I'm like,
so look, here's a comment right here. It says, Bronco and Coley, if you're both in your prime, who wins if you guys met?
Can I go first? We're
gonna let a guest go first.
Okay, let the guest go first.
Yeah. Did you hear did you read the comment from one of those viewers? If you're both in your prime and you met.
What?
Be honest.
I tell you what. boxers gave me problems. The guys that wanted to stand there and fight me, I mean, I love that. It was the real slick guys. Daryl was a slick guy. I think it would have been a good fight. I would have had to try to get to him because he was just and so I mean I could live with like Daryl, so I could live with that fight. Either one of us winning a draw.
Hey, Bronco, that's a big man. That's so big of you to say that, man. Thank you, man. Thank you, man.
No,
I'm gonna say this. I'm gonna say this. Bronco would have. I'm being honest with you. Bronco would have had me in bed at 7:30 because I got to get my rest. I mean, I'm no seriously. I mean, I would have trained extremely hard for Bronco because for one, he's a southpaw. His punches are accurate. He's a great, difficult style fighter. I would have trained. I would have been in the best shape I've ever been in, man. So I don't know who would have won, but I would have. If he would have beat me, he would have beat the best Daryl Coley ever. I'm being honest. I'm gonna be
absolutely awesome.
Yeah.
That's awesome. That's awesome, guys. So let me ask you, the hottest. I know you said Winky had that jab. Who was one of the hottest punches you fought?
Kelly Pavlik. Kelly Pavlik punched like. Have you ever like stuck your finger by accident, like in a light socket or something? Got that?
Yeah.
Every punch he threw felt like that. I mean, that guy could punch. He was a strong puncher. He was a huge middleweight. I laughed a few months ago, and now you see Kelly on Instagram and stuff. Kelly's pretty big. I don't know, 220 maybe. He's big, you know.
Yeah.
And I looked at him. We took a picture together. I said, hey, I think the night we fought, you know. He laughed. I said, dude, you had to weigh 190 when we hit the ring. He was big, good puncher, but he's not, you know, he's another guy that I really just fought anybody that I just didn't like. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I never. It was business, and I didn't like you from the time the bell rang over. It was over for me, and I stay in touch with him. I stay in touch with a lot of people throughout my career.
Absolutely, that's awesome. And look, I know you had 3 fights with Winky Wright in 6 years. The first 2 you lost by decision. The third was on a DQ. Did it seem like? I want to talk. And I wrote this down, so I try to get it right. But I want to talk about. You guys seem to be hoping for Fernando Vargas. De La Hoya would not mention you guys.
Right. He didn't really like.
Do you regret not fighting Vargas or De La Hoya, and not happening?
I'm sorry. Say that again.
So you had 3 fights with Winky Wright.
Yeah.
And it seemed like both of you, Winky, were fighting to establish fights. After both, you were hoping for Vargas to win Oscar De La Hoya to get that fight. How do you feel that fight never happened?
Well, I mean, are there any fights that you wish would have happened that didn't? And Vargas was the main one. I really wished I would have got that fight prime, not the 35-year-old, the 37-year-old, but get me in my 20s somewhere, you know. And Vargas. I mean, there was a point in my career where I would have signs up, you know, Vargas, Castillejo. I would name all these different champions. Please, man, give me a fight, you know. And Daniel Santos, he was the WBO champion. I couldn't get a shot at those guys. But yeah, you know, and I'll always stick by this. I felt the very first time we fought that first fight, I got a close decision in that fight. The second fight, Winky, man, he boxed. Second fight, I mean, he was just so on that night. It was ridiculous to me. That was the best fight that was the best one he fought. In third fight, you know, I got DQ, whatever, and it was just a bad night. But you know, it is what it is. But fights that I had, yeah, it didn't Fernando Vargas was the one I wanted the most. And I just at one time we had a signed deal when I signed with Sugar Ray Leonard deal to fight Vargas, and then his Dino Duva, I believe it was, off the radar for a little while, and Shelly Finkel stepped in and killed that deal. Said no. We had a contract and everything.
Why did you want Vargas? Was it something you seen that you knew you could beat him?
I just felt I did. I felt like I could beat Vargas. And it made I felt like I could at that time. And he was just he was there. And I just thought, man, if I could just get in there and crack him, get him, then boom, for a while, you know. But I couldn't get that. I couldn't get that shot. And you know the crazy thing too, when you think about it, Winky Wright, if Winky Wright would have been 5 years before me or 5 years after me, man, I would have been a decision once I won that title. I'd have been sailing through it. There really wasn't anybody out there that I was like, oh man, Winky was the guy, and we wanted him, and didn't pan out.
You took on the best though. You never backed down. You took on the best, and you know. Let me ask you this: Does Winky Wright play golf?
Yeah. So we got my ex-girlfriend that I was dating. We go down to Florida on a vacation. Me and her and her family, and I go play some golf. He comes, picks me up at the hotel. We go and play some golf. And no, that guy can play golf. Come back to the hotel, and there's probably, I don't know, a total of 10 people in the hotel. And she says, well, how did golf go? And I said, oh, man, that guy can play golf. She said, she goes, man, babe, you got to beat him at something. Man, you going to say that in front of your whole family? I mean, come on, man.
Yeah, but I just think it's awesome. You know, you guys battle for 3 fights, and, you know, and here you guys both on a golf course. That is like I want to be there and just drive the car around and listen to you guys. You know what I mean?
You know what? We had a great time, and a whole bunch of fights in our career that we both had. The only fights we never.
Wow.
Yeah, we didn't talk about our fights. We mentioned ours.
That's there must have been a reason for that, and I think that's really good. So let me ask you this, because it's almost time to go. But that, oh wait a minute, we got a question. It says about the Vargas fight. It says, but then Vargas tested positive for steroids against De La Hoya, basically throwing away his career.
I mean, he was a good fighter. He was good in the amateurs. You know, he was a good fighter. I mean, you know, that steroids thing definitely throws that fight out the window for sure. But he got knocked out in that fight too, so the steroids didn't really, you know, make his skills. You know, so I don't know that he threw his career away. He had, you know what, they moved him right. But I tell you, the fight that really did him in was the Felix fight earlier than they did. They let him take way too much punishment in that fight.
Yeah. You know,
I love.
You know, Vargas made his pro debut on me and Kip Diggs undercard. When I fought Kip Diggs, he made his pro debut. Yeah.
Okay, I did. That's pretty.
Comes full circle. Full circle.
Yes.
Yeah.
That's crazy. That's awesome. So let me and I've asked Daryl's quote. Daryl this question. I'm going to ask Bronco, and I have asked other pro fighters I had the opportunity to interview. Do you watch boxing today?
I do. I watch it heavy. Yeah.
What do you think about boxing today, or where it was when you guys were? I thought those were the best years of boxing. When I had the opportunity to watch Tuesday night fights, ESPN, HBO, like those were the fights that were happening. I think right now, more fights are happening on social media. Guys are just fighting back and forth on social media. You know, how many times have both you guys fight in 1 year? We're lucky to see these fights happening once a year. What do you think has changed being on the commission and everything else? How can we bring boxing back to where it was? If there is.
Well, see, Daryl said something very early on in the interview of the fighters then compared to now. Daryl realized I was a tough fighter. We were both good high-level fighters, right? And Daryl said, man, I was always waiting for your name. I'll come across my desk, or so to speak. And I was always waiting for his name to be offered. Sitting there anticipating, man, what if I get to fight? He's a good fighter. I can't wait to fight him, right? Where how Tommy Hearns and all them became so great. Tommy Hearns has been beaten, stopped brutally, and everything else, but there's in the history of the sport. Because he didn't get beat by just anybody. He got beat by the Marvin Hagler, the best fighters out there. The best fought the best, which makes you the best. And now Tommy Hearns and Ray Leonard fought twice at a younger age than Bud Crawford are getting ready to fight. Right? And that fight should have been made. And so a lot of these fights are happening past when they should, because, you know, well, I'm the guy, I should get 35, and I'm the A, and you'd be, man, let's just see who the best fighter is, and then whoever going forward for sure. If you feel you're the A side, beat me, and you'll be the A side the rest of your career, right? Everybody feels like you got to have that O, and again, that started with Floyd, this person and that person. No, if you fight the best, look at MMA. That's why MMA really took off like it did, because them guys fight each other. All the same guys fight each other 11 losses, and the crowd loved him like he's 100-0, because he will fight anybody they put in front of him today. Everybody's a businessman trying to be a fighter, and fighter, and let the business people handle the business.
Absolutely, well said. And Daryl, you spoke upon that too. Everybody's afraid to lose that zero, Daryl.
Yeah, because everybody wants to be like Floyd Mayweather, I guess. You know, he keep bragging about his zero. You know, and I think everybody want to be undefeated to prove to everybody they can fight, but that's not proving you can fight. This one I look at, Bronco and Jerry. I can't lose because I'm out there doing something that I was doing since I was a kid. I'm entertaining the crowd. Forget what the judges say. If they say the other guy won, so be it. I won. I still won because I'm out there showing that I did my best. And the people don't understand that.
You know,
they keep worried about what other people judge, that way they judge them. Like if me and Bronco was to fight and he was to beat me, which he won't, but no. No, but the thing is, I went out there and participated and did my best. That's a victory for me. You know, that's a victory. It ain't always about your hand raised up, man. It's about doing your best.
Yeah.
Well, when you go through the all-time greats, the ones that all the people, like when you go to hear the name Muhammad Ali, you're always going to hear the name Sugar Ray Robinson. You're always going to hear the Sadlers, the Sugar Ray Leonard. Just those five right there have all lost more than one fight, right? Fought the best of the best, lost to the best of the best, and beat the best of the best. And the only way to become the people, not go undefeated, but you actually have to fight the best to be the best.
Absolutely. I love that. Bronco, I want to thank you, Daryl. You got any other questions?
Nah, man. No. I want to say this is not a question. I want to say this, man. Bronco, it's a pleasure, man. I love you, man. I'm a great fan of yours, man. Don't you ever forget that, man.
Hey, appreciate it, man. And believe me, the feeling's mutual. When Jerry told me you were the too sweet, I said, man, I can't wait to see him. So yeah, appreciate you guys. Thank you.
Thank you so much for taking time out of your day. I'm so glad the bat phone didn't go off. I should say the Superman phone didn't go off.
There we go. Exactly.
Thank you so much for being on the show. It was an honor. I've had you twice. I'll be reaching out to you soon to talk to you about some other things. Again, Champ, thank you so much for being on the Neutral Corner. We really appreciate you, and have a great night.
Thanks, Bronco.
Thank you, guys.
God bless, man. That's awesome, man. Wow. He said he gave you a lot of respect.
He did. And that's why I alter my answer about who you think would beat between the two of us, and that's why I just wanted to give him the same mutual respect. But I believe it or not, I'm guaranteeing it wouldn't have been an easy fight for him. I thought it would have been
too great. I thought, you know what? I wouldn't pick a win. I would just. It would have been an entertaining fight. Look, this is what I mean, Daryl. You guys fought everybody. You guys were two gladiators, and it wouldn't have mattered who won. It would have been a fight the fans wanted to see. You know what I mean? We're not doing that. We ain't doing that. We're playing with Jake Paul.
It would have been a good fight. It would have been a good fight, man.
You know.
I respect the guy, man. I like the guy, man. Yeah.
You know, I mean, dude, Bronco to come on and take time out of his busy schedule to come on tonight, I thought was great. So. Listen, I want to before we leave. Thank you so much, Justin. I'm watching our show. Make sure to share it. Let everybody know. We're gonna be. We talk to legends. We had Riddick Bowe. We just had Bronco McCott. We got a legend himself that's on the show with me, Daryl Too Sweet Coley. We want to talk to legends. We want to talk to amateurs. We want to talk to gyms that are doing different things in their community, putting on amateur shows and things like that. Daryl, we got here where I live. In Fall River, Massachusetts, on November 19th, we got the West Point Cadets versus the Golden Glove Boxers of our area in New England. That's going to happen November 19th at the Police Athletic League. It's going to be $30 a ticket. And sometimes, you know, you see these amateur fights. I'm telling you, you're going to see a lot of great amateur fights. Go ahead, Darryl.
See, Jerry, this is what people don't understand. That the amateurs are the next superstars of boxing, and they don't understand it. That, you know, these going to be the superstars in the professional rankings, man. These going to be the guys that they paying for pay-per-view for, man. These guys are going to be superstars, man.
Yeah, and you're absolutely right. I mean, you fought at the highest level, Oscar De La Hoya, all of them, HBO. I mean, you fought at the highest level, so you know more than anybody. But this event that's happening November 19th at the Fall River Police Athletic League, tickets are $30. Kids under 12 with an adult are welcome to come for free. I can get, if you want to sponsor, we can talk about sponsors, and you'll be able to sponsor for $250. You get to go inside the ring, and you give the winner his award, and your company or your business is announced. I got all that information. If you want to get in touch with me about being a sponsor in the Southern New England Golden Gloves with the West Point Cadets, are from New York, so they're coming here to Fall River. So, man, look, I just wanted to talk about this, and I'll be promoting it more. West Point Cadets versus Golden Gloves, Southern New England, right here in Fall River at the PAL. November 19th, $30 a ticket. Daryl, hey, man, what a great show. Another great show, man.
Great show, man. I'm very pleased with this show, man. I'm very pleased with this one.
Yeah, right. Absolutely. And I just want to thank everybody for tuning in. Thank everybody. I know we got off to a little late start, but that happens. I want to thank my producer, Blaze Man, for being patient with me, and FFN Radio Network. There's other shows. Don't forget this Friday night, the racing show. I got 100 things going through my mind right now, and I can't think. And I know my producer's in the background, like, let me text him the name of the show because he's already forgot. Side Draft this Friday night. This show is all your NASCAR, local racing, anything to do with racing. This is the show. If you know someone that's into racing, this is it. This is the show you want to watch. It's Side Draft. He's going to have some great guests on talking racing. He had his first show last week, was a big hit. So be sure to catch that Thursday nights, Rabbit Hole right here. And listen, man, FFN Radio Network is just one radio station. We got so many shows and more shows coming. And listen, we got one more. It says, and this comes from Justin. This comes from the guy that has the Side Draft show. It says, Coley Bronco would beat your ass unless you watch the Side Drift this Friday. He wants you to watch his show.
They tell him, Justin, Just because you said that, I will watch the show, and that we're gonna take that back, Justin. Hey, Justin, we're gonna take that back, Justin. Nah, I would that would been I would be
Yeah,
I really no. Bronco, no. I know me going into fight with anybody. I'm going to think I'm going to beat them. I'm not downplaying nobody. That's how
It's a
that's how I
mentality,
think.
absolutely.
That's how I think. So, and Bronco gonna think the same way. Bronco was a gentleman about the situation, and so was I. But Bronco think he beat me, and I think I beat Bronco without question. And that's how two warriors think.
And that's what's missing today. Fighters, who cares if you lose? It doesn't matter. Fight the best fighters out there. You're gonna bring fans. You don't need to go on YouTube, Twitter. If you fight the guys that the fans want, you're gonna become a great. You're gonna become a legend.
Read what Justin said. We gotta read what he said.
He just said, "Let's go." You beat Bronco in 30-second knockout. Haha. Appreciate you guys. The show was great. Such a hit. I love it.
Thank you, Justin.
Thank you, everybody that watched tonight. Be sure to check out FFN Radio Network on YouTube, Twitter, Twitch, Instagram, and any other platform we're on. And check out some of the amazing shows I had. Daryl, thank you so much for tonight. Thank you again. We'll work on next week's show next week. But tonight, we'll enjoy this. Thank you, Bronco Macau, for being on.
Thanks, Bronco.
I say this. I got a saying I say after every show, and that's everything behind the jab, and we're gonna be okay.
That jab was terrible. But don't worry.
Thanks, everybody. Have a great night.
Is there any way you can lose?
Yeah, if I don't show up. And that's the only way I can lose. And believe me, I will be there.
This is Daryl, Too Sweet Coley, 38-2, 28 knockouts, former #1 welterweight in the world, on the neutral corner with Jerry Sosa.
I'm gonna show you how great I am.
I'm the best ever. I'm the most brutal and vicious and most ruthless champion there's ever been. There's no one can stop me.
I wish I was 50 years younger and I'd kick your ass.